Hi, everybody. My name is John DePietro.
And I'm Bob Zagami with the Camper Report Show.
And on this Camp Report show, those trees, I don't know whether they're cactus, cacti, or whatever they are, but they're in Arizona. And I am getting ready to tell you about a gigantic RV event that takes place every year at Quartzsite. And this year, I'll be reporting directly from the scene. We're going to talk to the person who's leading the charge. How about you?
And along the way, as you move across the country to Quartzsite, you might want to stay at a Love's RV stop that are becoming very popular. I'm going to have a conversation with Jim Wheeler, the man behind the RV activity at Love's RV stops.
You know what? They're coast to coast now, and clean bathrooms and friendly people. It's always cool. So you're going to love what we have today because we got all our news. Where do we get our news, Bob?
From RV Business and Woodall's Campground Magazine, Rick Kessler and Ben Quiggle. Couldn't do it without them.
We'll be here to share those stories with you right after these important messages.
On the Camper Report Show.
Hey everybody, it's John from the Camper Report Show, and I want to introduce you to RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding. Now, Brooklyn Bedding will make a mattress to fit any size RV. The unit that we have in our Class C is a Brooklyn Dreamfold Hybrid. Well, we put it in a couple weeks ago. We've been on a couple trips. Sometimes I've slept in it. When I've gone out alone, my wife has slept in it. And you know what? We both had great nights' sleeps. You know, they have their own factory right in Arizona, so that gives them strict quality control. It was easy and fun to set up. You hear that? Wow. It's less than 30 seconds. So, that is luxury. Now, the thing I like best about this, there is a 120-night sleep trial. 4 months you can try this out. And guess what? It's got a 10-year warranty. We've had it for 2 weeks. Here's the reason I like it. It fits perfectly here where the old mattress was. It was easy to buy. You just go online and there's every choice imaginable, which says a lot because the RV biz has a million different sizes of mattresses. But that's not all. Be sure to explore all of their outstanding sales throughout the month of November. These are going to be the biggest deals of the year, reaching up to 30% off. Don't miss your chance to enhance your sleep quality. Visit rvmattress.com today. And remember, once November is over, so are these incredible deals. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the news segment of the Camp Report Show. My name is John DePietro. That man sitting over there is Bob Zagami. And Bob, today we're going to talk about a hello, a goodbye, and a good job. Now, how's that for a tease about the subjects that we're going to talk about today?
I'm sure everybody is waiting on bated breath to see what gems we come up with this morning.
Okay, so here's the hello part. Our friends at RV Share, America's largest peer-to-peer RV sharing network, do a lot of research. And they found out that last year, 2023, which is this year, but it's considered last year for statistical purposes.
Yeah.
A lot of people went to Europe because they couldn't go to Europe during those COVID years prior to that. So a lot of the international business went overseas. But they're looking at their 24 forecast, and it looks like everything is really coming up roses. Talk about that.
They're coming back home. You know, it's funny. Many people desire to go to Europe and go to Italy and Paris and London and France. But when they did last year, they didn't like it. There were a lot of complaints. If you talk to anybody that went over there, they couldn't. It almost sounded like big cities in the United States. They couldn't get reservations. They couldn't get hotel rooms. Every place they went was crowded. So they're coming back home this year and going to spend a lot more time doing things, leisurely things, relaxing things that they know will give them a lot of joy in 2024, which bodes well for their rental services. They expect 49% of the travelers are planning laid back trips. And when you put the frustration of having gone to Europe last year And the frustration of what we see going on in the United States today, we're not going to get into politics. We're not going to get into the civic strife and the protests that we see left and right. Then that's why they want to get away from the crowd.
Get away from it.
Get away from it all. Just go out there and put it behind us. And then couple that with the fact that as we go through this summer, we're going to be in the middle of a ridiculous or horrendous presidential season. That
Get away from TV.
it's already ugly. It's going to get uglier.
Yep.
Give me an RV. Give me a campground. I don't care what's going to be there. I don't even want to listen. Like you say, shut the TV off, shut the computer off, and enjoy this great country. Yeah.
Just give me an eclipse.
Yeah. And
in April.
I must be one of the odd ones, although they say a lot of the millennials and Gen Zs are going into that activity. I have no desire to see an eclipse.
Well, I think the last one that they had, it was, last month that we had some friends that were at. I guess it was cloud covered. Nothing was able to be visible. So,
no, the people that traveled all the way to Oregon watched it on, I forget whose cell phone, but they watched it on a cell phone.
Wild.
So I'm glad. They got reservations. Campgrounds are already booked. It's going to be visible throughout most of the country. So it's going to be much more of an event than the one in Oregon. But it's in April. And the other thing that they didn't come out and say it, but in a way they did, that typically we see Memorial Day as the start of the camping season. Well, that's going to get pushed up almost 2 months this year because the eclipse is in April. So the people in their mind are already thinking about travel,
getting out,
grounds, getting out. So we should see a flurry of activity even before we get to Memorial Day. Yeah.
So that's the hello part.
Okay. Well, wait, one last thing on the hello though. They said that their internal insights, their study, there is a 3,242% increase in bookings for the weekend of April 8th compared to Memorial Day weekend in 2024. So even in advance of Memorial Day next year, over 3,000%. So
wow, that's wild.
As we say to our friends and our fans, you really better make that reservation early.
Better make it early. Don't be disappointed.
Well, the reservation if you're going to rent an RV and the reservation of where you're going to go with that RV.
Exactly. So there's the hello part, right?
Right.
Now, the goodbye part, you have a personal knowledge of. Our friends up in Vermont have a long-standing, over 60-year-old RV business up there, Meckelson RV, and the patriarch, right?
Right.
The guy who started it all, John Meckelson, just passed at the tender age of how much, Bob?
100. And congratulations to anybody that makes it to the century mark. John was a wonderful man. They developed a great relationship. It's one of those small independent RV dealerships in New England, multi-generational. John's son and daughter, Bruce Meckelson and Connie Meckelson, run the business, have been running the business. And Olivia has just taken over a lot of the marketing operations. So she's the third generation and getting them involved in social media. And it's what RV dealerships were like 20, 30, 40 years ago. It hasn't changed. They know everybody that walks through the door. The coffee pot is on. Go get your own. It's over there in the corner. Sit down with Connie and Bruce and talk about the good times and the challenges. But yeah, John Meckelson was an iconic legend in New England, and with his wife Grace, who, by the way, John wasn't the only member of that marriage that was 100 years old. Grace is also 100 years old, and she is surviving John. And get this, they've been married for 73 years. Married. Most people are happy if they get to 73 years, period.
Living.
Folks have been married for 73 years. East Montpelier, Vermont. If you're traveling in New England, if you're looking for vacation spots up in front, stop in and see this dealership. It is absolutely iconic.
And it's ironic that you had him scheduled for an interview just a few weeks ago, and he had to, at the last minute, cancel it because wasn't feeling well, and then subsequently went in the hospital and and passed after that, but was with it.
On our other show, RVing in New England, we were going to do a complete show with all three generations of Matt Wilson. So, but we're going to still do the show, and we'll remember John and
exactly. So we've gotten hello, we've gotten goodbye, and now we've got good job. And the good job comes from, actually, you were at this event last week in Las Vegas. Our friend Sherm Goldenberg, the former publisher of RV Business and Woodall's Campground Magazine, just received a Titan Award, one of only 8 given out ever from RVDA. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a great recognition, as Sherm is still doing a lot of work in the business with Rick Kessler and Scott Stropsky, who now own G&G Media. But I'm so old, I can remember Sherm Goldenberg when he worked with the original Trailer Life and Motorhome magazine that were owned by Art Rouse, who is an icon, I mean, just legendary man in trade and consumer publications in the RV industry. So Sherm has been out there a long time, started as a newspaper reporter. And it's funny, a lot of people in the RV industry publication business started out as newspaper reporters in the Elkhart, Goshen area. Sherm started out in Fort Wayne. And I've known him, well, I've been covering the industry for 27 years. I've known him all of those years. One of the first people that I met. And then, so they went from Art Rouse to the Affinity Group, which owned them. And then in 2011, Beverly Gardner, who has passed on, was Sherm's partner. They purchased the publications and became G&G Media, which was both a trade and consumer activities. And then most recently last year, Rick Kessler purchased the company, and they decided to honor Scott Sherm. And you know what was great about it? And it's Sherm. If you know Sherm and you worked with him, observed him over the last many years, decades, they announced the award. So Rick Kessler's over on this side of the stage, and he announces the award. And Sherm is on the other side of the stage, and he wouldn't even go to the podium and speak. He's a man of very few words, but there's a lot of action. But he's a beloved individual with manufacturers, suppliers, campgrounds, and everybody. And he's not going away. We like to see Sherm's presence, and it was really good that they surprised him with this. He did not know it was coming, and very well deserved. He is, in fact, a titan in the RV industry.
So there you go. Hello, goodbye, and good job. And again, special thanks to our friends at RV Business and Woodall's for telling us what stories to tell, especially when they're told about them. So with that being said,
they don't tell us what stories to tell, but they give us an incredible a collection of stories every week.
What to pick from.
The difficult challenge is picking the 2 or 3 that you and I want to talk about.
Exactly. Okay. This is the Camp Report Show. Stay with us, everybody. We've got a great show today.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Camper Report Show. My special guest this morning is Jim Wheeler with Love's Truck Stop Travel Stops. And Jim, you've tell us a little bit about your background with Love's, and then we'll get into the excitement about the travel stops and the RV stops.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me today too, Bob. Appreciate it. I've been with Love's 10 years now, and really started with them. I've been a hospitality hotel guy, is my background. And so Love's owns hotels too. We have 19 hotels out there. And when I came on board again, this has been around for 10 years. So I really, with my hotel experience, started that. But we really, saw this RV opportunity. I think it's been discussed for several years. And, with my hospitality background when the RVs came on board, and there's some similarities with hotels. You've got occupancy rates, people staying the night or multiple nights there. And so, it was great. I was real excited to take this business on.
Well, it's a great background, and now we see that the industry in general is using the terminology of outdoor hospitality. KOA, really does that and incorporates into their reports. But that's really truly what it is. We associate the fact that everything that you used to like to do at hotels and resorts, you can do with your RV and your camper, and just do it outside and have a lot of the same amenities, the same cleanliness, the same cost benefit analysis to it. Tell us about the distinction between the two properties and how you are marketing them to the RV industry.
Yeah. So, right, we have what we call Love's RV hookups, and then Love's RV stops. And part of that is everything can be booked online at lovesrvstops.com. We go through Camp Life reservation system, so all our properties are online there. But the real difference is our smaller hookups are, say, anywhere from 3 to 5 to 15 spaces right off of our travel stop. So we have, today there's actually we're opening our 35th location today, or 35th or 36th of our hookup location out there. And then we have the RV stops is going to be a larger park out there that we have. And, it will have a dedicated building. It'll have the showers and the laundry facilities. There'll be a small store, sometimes a larger store, but it has some amenities. It'll have things like splash pads or pickleball, basketball, cornhole, those kind of things. We'll have picnic tables and fire rings, and those are reserved for we have 13 of those open today, and those are reserved for locations that we've got, like Cannon City, Colorado, or Salina, Utah. A lot of times where we really have some nice recreational going on close by, so we'll put in one of the larger facilities.
And you mentioned that it was the 50th location, which is 25 a year for the first 2 years, but you're looking to double that next year.
Yeah, so we're really happy with our with both the hookups and the stop, but we really see that hookups hit a need area in the RV industry. It's that quick overnight stay where they can you've got all the amenities that Love's already has to offer: the fuel, the propane, we've got the store and the restaurants, we've got laundry, showers, so things, dog parks, people are looking for. And, but it gives them that. It's always going to be 30, 50 amp power. We always put in Wi-Fi. Most of ours are full service today. Most of them will have the potable water and have their dedicated dumps. But if we don't have a dedicated dump, we always have that communal dump that's still over at the travel stop. So they've been busy. People love them. So we're going to go and do them to a lot of existing Love locations. So we have 650 travel stops open today. So, we've got a large area where we can add them. And so we've gone back and identified some locations where we think we can really rapidly grow them next year.
Well, your timing is truly perfect, because when you look at the RV industry today, during COVID, as we all know, we sold over 500,000 units a year, and half of those were to new people and new campers. So there are a bunch of people on the road with RVs that don't understand what outdoor camping has been like for the last 50 years. They're coming into it as millennials and Gen Z, and they're discovering what you are bringing to the marketplace. And many have talked about it over the past few years, but you're putting a plan in place that I think is going to be extremely attractive to people that are on the road, and tying it together with the 650 locations. It's not like you have to tell people who you are. Everybody in America knows the Love's travel stops and test. In fact, one thing that people know about Love's is they're probably the cleanest bathrooms on the road, and that's what RV is like. And then couple that with all the amenities that you're putting out there, you'll probably have people cramming, talking, giving you messages saying, "Hey, please build one in my backyard, or build it along the road." And being a hospitality guy, and you remember that's how Holiday Inn started 50 something years ago, sticking these little hotels at the intersections of our emerging national highway system.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Bob. And and I think you tied that in. And I think that's what finally got us motivated too, is, after COVID and that, where we saw this real explosion. We had talked about it and we said it's really a good time. Let's get this business out there. But our customers are very happy. We hear a lot how convenient it is, how they feel safe. They feel like they had a safe place to stay for the night, and easy. We put in automation that I think is unique. So you can do it all right on your phone or a computer. There is, you go through, and when you make your reservation, and when you arrive, you'll get an email. You just say check in, and once you hit that check in button and you've paid, then what it does, it automatically turns that power on at that pedestal.
And I got to tell you, I think that is probably the most brilliant part of what you have done. We're talking about a generation of digital natives that don't know anything except a cell phone and a computer. They don't know about logbooks and cards on the table. They expect it, but they haven't seen it. And now you can deliver it to them in an environment and with a technology that they're extremely familiar with.
Yeah. And we find this being 90% of our reservations, they never come into the store and ask for help. It's all done right there online. And there's instructions when you get there. We always have a little building too, and a QR code that you can just hit your phone with and make it as easy as we can. So yeah, it
sounds fantastic, and I'm sure our fans are going to love to hear it. Our guest today is Jim Wheeler, Director of Hospitality at Lowe's Travel Stops. And with your hospitality background and now learning all this stuff about the RV community, Jim, this is a great idea. I think that it's going to grow, and the fact that you're able to look forward to doubling the number of locations in the country in 2024, you're off to a fast start, and you'll be a busy man in 2024. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we will be, our construction guys and real estate guys. Yeah, and it'll be fun though. It's exciting.
That's fine, Jim. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Camper Report Show, and we'll see you in the company at the Love's Travel Stops and RV Stops along nation's highways.
Great. Thanks for having me, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Camp Report Show. My name is John DePietro, and one of the things that I like best about being an active RVer is you get to meet people from all walks of life, from all over the country. And you know what? You meet them on the internet, you meet them on the rest areas on the highway, and you meet them at real cool, gigantic RV events. And I think that if you've been RVing for any time now, one of the names, the iconic names, the sacred names that you've heard of is the small town, which turns into a large town, called Quartzsite, Arizona. And with me today is my friend, Mr. Bob Kelly from New Jersey, who is going on his 4th or 5th trip out there. Bob, welcome to the Camper Report Show.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
So, Bob, tell us a little bit about Quartzsite and why you went in the first place and why you keep going back.
Well, I went to Quartzsite because it had this reputation about the wild and woolly West. Quartzsite is a small little town not too far from the California state line. It's just north of Yuma. There's a tremendous amount of Bureau of Land Management land, which means that you can camp for a long period of time very inexpensively. So I went out there with big preconceived notions. And when I got there, I found that if you're an experienced camper, there's very little difference between being there and being in a national park.
Interesting.
As a matter of fact, it's probably easier to go to Quartzsite than it is to go to a national park because there's tremendous services in town that cater to all the people that come there during the winter. So you can get work done, you can get solar panels put on, there's 2 or 3 different supermarkets, there's tremendous restaurants, there's a large RV show when our group is there. There's places with hookups, there's places without hookups, there's gas stations, propane stations, water places to dump, and it's a pretty convenient place.
Certainly an RVer's mecca. Now, one of the things that I've been told is that during the non-winter time, in other words, June, July, you're not
when
going
it's a furnace.
It's a desert, but
Yes.
I'm told that the city's town boundaries, whatever, swell from 2,500 to 250,000 people that visit during the winter. Am I getting those numbers right?
Yeah, there's a lot of Bureau of Land Management area around. Bureau of Land Management properties run all the way down to Yuma. So pretty much anywhere north of Quartzsite down to Yuma, you've got desert that you're allowed to camp in for extended periods of time. Most federal places are limited to 14 days, depending on what arrangements you make with the Bureau of Land Management, Department of the Interior. You could stay there the entire winter for a very small amount of money.
Okay. Now, staying there is one thing, getting there is something else. And you live in New Jersey, I live in New England, and you have caravanned out there last year and are going to do it again. First of all, from New Jersey out to Quartzsite, it's just about at least 3,000 miles, right?
It's about 3,000 miles.
Okay, so you're going to come down the East Coast, down
Yes.
the 95 corridor, and then head west. But this year, you've expanded your wagon train, if you will. All the people seem to have either a Winnebago View or a Navion. That's
Navion, yes.
one of the things that you all have in common. But tell me last year how you started it. It was just a few single travelers that didn't want to be alone. Right?
There was I had some health issues the year before, and I had a lot of friends that helped me along. And it made me realize that when you travel with somebody nearby, things go much more smoothly. And we've got a number of ladies that travel by themselves. And, a lot of them are my friends. And, you don't want to sound sexist or anything, but I feel that it's always more comfortable when you're a woman and there's somebody around that just so you can yell. I traveled with another really good friend, a guy by the name of Al Jaffa, and we were up in the Owens Valley, and we were out on some really lonely places. And there's not much that bothers me, but the fact that Al was there 20 feet away made me feel a whole lot better, because it's really hard for something bad to happen to you by a third party if there's 2 people close together. So that was kind of the start of what happened. So we were quiet, and I don't think everybody paid a whole lot of attention when I first mentioned it. And we had a terrific bunch of people that paid attention. And we had, I think by the time we got to Quartzsite, we had 8 or 9 people. And 8 or 9 coaches.
But
And
let me stop you for 1 second. But forget the part about security with another person around. Half of that is not necessarily physical security, but what if you get a breakdown? What if you get what if you get lost?
absolutely.
All those other factors of the group synergy that must play a part.
Absolutely. We have, last year we had a number of people that were really for the first time going somewhere and on a big trip. And there was a couple people along Schneider and Herring who were really experienced, handy guys. And not that we needed anything from anyone, but I'm pretty sure that short of a major breakdown, we could have gotten everybody back up and running and gotten them to Quartzsite.
And I think you'd agree also that RVers are always quick to help out other RVers.
Oh, absolutely.
Forget whether they're all traveling together, but I mean, if you're in a campground somewhere and you put your hood up, in 5 minutes you got 5 people saying, "Hey, what do you need help?" Well, this hose is that hose, and etc.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
RVers, by their nature, are a group that is willing to help out. This year, one of the things that impressed me the most when I saw that you were doing this, you call it the Gulf Coast Crawl because
Yes, sir.
you start down in Tallahassee, Florida, and you Gulf of Mexico and whatever, is that you pretty much have this, you have every mile taken care of. So
I praise. I'm not sure it's that way.
I don't have to think. I don't have to say, do we go up to I-20 or we stay on I-10? Are we going to go to Dallas? Or are we going to go to Houston? Are we going to go to El Paso? You've done all of that work along with RV Trip Wizard and several other booklets. What are people commenting on it so far about? What are they telling you? We're just about them.
Well, judging it by the number of people that plan on participating, everybody's really excited. We try not to travel too much in one day. We keep it under 300 miles.
Yep.
It provides the opportunity for serendipity. If somebody sees something or decides they'd like to go someplace and visit something, it's the opportunity is there. We call it a crawl because we're going to spend a day and a half in New Orleans. We'll spend some time in Galveston. We'll spend some time in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is a great town, great music, great food, a couple great museums. And then we hit West Texas, which is just a lot of big roads. So
big roads, long roads.
roads. Yes, sir.
Long, straight roads.
Yes.
Yeah. So then we get there and you've got a few days planned, and then the big RV show starts, and then kind of people are going to disperse on their own after that, right, Bob?
Yes. We'll get there. The crawl will get there on, I'd have to look. It's either a Sunday or Monday. We've got one free day off. We get there Sunday. So we get Monday to get things a little bit set up. And then we start the rally on Tuesday. It'll run through, kind of fades out on Saturday when the big tent shows up. And after that, everybody kind of goes where they're going.
Cool. Okay. Would you recommend this to other groups of other brands to try something similar? I mean, I think this time we're going to have some lifetime friends.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no. It's really good. Yeah, the only I have last year was absolutely spectacular. This year is a little different because by the time we crawl into just outside Tucson, we should have 30 coaches. So
we'll need a parade permit.
Which the thing is that it was not by invitation. I'm not that kind of guy where it's like, oh, I've got my small group of friends and we're going to do this. Everybody is very clever. Everybody is very kind. Everybody is very organized. Safety comes first, second, and third. So we're going to figure out a way to move that amount of people without doing anything stupid. But I have to tell you that there is a little concern on my part with the amount of people involved, which has to raise the level of organization before we go.
Yeah.
But I'm working on that now, and I don't anticipate it being an impediment.
Great. And we're going to be one of those people that are joining you for the first time, my wife and I. And
Yes.
we're going to be chronicalizing it. Is that the right word? We're going to
That
be
works,
letting
yes.
people know. We'll do a whole bunch of segments as we hit the road here on the Camp Report Show. So Bob Kelly, Wagon Master, and Sheriff, if you will. We want to thank you so much. No, we want to thank you so much for your time today here on the Camp Report Show, and to remind everybody to stay tuned during January and a little bit of February about the goings on with this Gulf Coast crawl. Thanks, Bob Kelly.
You're welcome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Stay with us, everybody. This is the Camp Report Show.